Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host, and thank you for joining me. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and then examine the stories and the art. And I've covered, this is about Millie the Model. Now, I've talked about Millie before, but this is Millie the Model, number 147 from 1966 from Marvel Comics. And it was written, this says, I think it's 3, maybe it's 4 stories in here. And it's written by Denny O'Neil. Yeah, Denny O'Neil. This would have been very early in his writing career, and he was just showing his writing chops. And it was drawn by Bill Williams. And in my research, it doesn't say so in the credits here. My research says that also Stan Goldberg worked on this, probably as an inker, if at all. Because it just says drawn by Bill Williams. It says nothing about an inker in the credits. So either Bill Williams did all the art, penciling and inking, or Stan Goldberg had a hand in the penciling. Correction, in the inking. Now, I talked about Millie the Model before. As I said, for quite a while, she was like the teen humors, like Archie and company, like these guys. Same art style, which, from what I understand, was brought in by Stan Goldberg for a while in the earlier 60s, and then for a couple of years it had this more realistic style to it, and then went back to the teen humor style. Some of the stories in here are not unlike the teen humor, but just with this more realistic art, and some of it is, sometimes it's more of a romance title. This is the only one that I've got that I know of from this particular era, because Millie the Model was, well, here, I'll show you. It was created first published in 1945. And see, one of the reasons I'm talking about Millie now is because a few weeks ago I had done an episode on Misty, and from Marvel Comics Star line, created and written and drawn by Trina Robbins. And in Misty, she lived with her aunt, who was Millie the Model. Had gotten much older and gotten plump. I don't know why it made her plump. And so then I, looking through some of my other stuff, and I come across this issue of Millie. So, oh, I didn't realize I had that. And so I found this Millie the Model, the blonde bombshell. And so I thought I would have this as a callback. And this is showing more, of course, this is filled with fashion stuff. Not just the story; it's always showing the fashion stuff. And from what I understand, some of the fashions shown here were designs sent in from readers. Now, Millie the Model was from 1945, and this is from, I talked about Trina before, and this is this book, The Century of Women Cartoonists by Trina Robbins. And here's reproduces not the cover, but the first page of Millie the Model, created by Ruth Atkinson. And she did the first several issues of Millie the Model. And it was mostly about a working girl and fashions and stuff like that, working girl type stories. with a little bit of humor and a little bit of romance, and it was pretty much that way through the 50s, and then in the either late 50s or early 60s, I think it was the early 60s, Stan Goldberg had turned it into a more of a teen humor style comic, and then they turned it back into this working girl fashion and slightly romance comic for probably a couple of years, and that's fun. It's fun. It takes more of a fashion illustration style to it. And so now we're going to get into Millie. But first, let's take a look at this. If you want to help support my channel so that I can help continue producing these videos as often as I like, you can get one of these, or to your custom specifications, 5 by 8 inch character card. And if you want one, either one of these, that on the end, that's Millie the Model. If you want one, just contact me in the comments below or at my email address right here. I really like doing these Archie type characters. That's why. That's why I showed so many of them right here. You can contact me and I'll see what I can work out for you. And now we're back to Millie the Model. And you can see here on this cover, which was also drawn by Bill Williams. I believe there's no credits, but it sure looks like the same style as the interior art, with corner box. Now, from what I understand, the corner boxes were first suggested by Steve Ditko, and that's kind of cool. It helped make it easier to identify the comic book on the rack when someone was looking through. So this is Millie the Model, and you can see here just from the style of the art that it had. Of course, she's a model. It had an extremely strong emphasis on fashion, and some on romance, but fashion had the fashion illustration and nice interpretation of it says, "From London with Love, Mad Mod Fashion Show issue from London with Love." Well, never actually get to London, but a nice image here in the background for part of the London cityscape. Let me get right in. Millie, the magical model. Here we see on the set where they're doing a photo shoot, and this deals with Millie becoming an assistant. Their boss. What's the boss's name? Mr. Hanover, who's the boss, and he's, for some kind of charity thing, he's going to be a magician. He needs an assistant for his show, and Millie volunteers. And you can see nice artwork, nice, clean, and slick and professional, and the ladies are very lovely looking, and the young men are all very handsome, which is pretty much a requirement for drawing romance comics. And that's one of the reasons why I think this fits into romance. It kind of bridges that gap. And here they're going to have a fashion show of all the models, and then, but Millie's frenemy, sabotages stuff. And here they have all kinds of things like this here, fashion-oriented drawings of various hairstyles. So you could potentially take this to your hairdresser and have her recreate the hairstyle if it worked for you. And the whole thing falls apart, and we see Chili. Yes, that's the panel that I based my drawing on, but I made considerable changes. And then they have several pages sprinkled throughout of paper dolls. It's more like a little fashion show, just to take a look at the fashions, but you could cut them out and use them as paper dolls. Mailbag. Here, Millie, swinging school teacher. Oh, here she is out on a date with Clicker, her boyfriend and photographer, and runs into, I guess he was a principal of high school. Runs into her and asks her if she can come and do like a career day thing, and so she comes. Goes to the school, and she's nervous, and this is the whole thing, just her talking about the fashion industry, how to get in, what's required to be a model like her, which is very unrealistic for most people, even though they do need a lot of different body types for models, and some more paper doll style fashion, and it just the whole thing is very fashion oriented clothes, and all the girls, and they enjoy it, and she had a good time doing it. And then more fashion. All these pants are horrible. They are horrendous, terrible. See, here says in these styles, says who the designs were by. But all these pants, they're awful. They're just awful. Glamour contest. And this is with the chance with this big fashion designer to go to London to model for his next big thing. And so they're all in competition, and the ladies are in the dressing room getting ready and lounging around, and just showing. The whole thing is just basically showing off fashions, how they're going to present themselves to this designer fella from London. And then the girls get to thinking, oh, well, I don't really want to leave. I'll leave all my friends, and so will be left behind, yada, yada. The only one who has no qualms about that is Chili. So she thinks it's great, yada, yada, yada. And she gets the job, and then finds out that this new line that he's designing is in earrings. And all the pictures are just going to be of her ear, so her face is not going to be out there. Her ears are, and then she realizes she's going to be left behind. She'll be left behind a little bit. The other girls and her rival Millie will get more time with Clicker, and then some more lovely. Yeah, this is much better than those slacks they had before of fashions for the paper dolls, and then various kinds of hats. Boy, this hat here, right down there, that is awful. That is just an awful hat. Some of the others aren't so. Oh, this one here just looks like a bowl. That really sucks. The others aren't so too bad. This one's kind of cute. And that is the end of this, Millie. I didn't want to cover an individual story too much. Had some really nice artwork, and it was a good introduction to writing for Denny O'Neil, and it's fun, and I bet girls just love this stuff. So that's what I've got for you this time with Millie the Model. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. If you have friends who like the more teen humor type of Millie. Share this with them because maybe they don't know it, or someone who's an Archie fan and they might enjoy this, or with the people who like the romance comics, because this some of these issues kind of fit in with that. So that's all I've got. Thanks, and remember, comics are art.